Hello everyone, hello. Welcome. This is another video for our 30 days of tabletop activities playlist. Okay, so for today, our letter for our playlist activity is our letter V. V is for very valuable do-it-yourself activities, do-it-yourself tasks. Very valuable do-it-yourself tasks. Okay, so I have three very valuable do-it-yourself tasks that can be done at home and can be very helpful to use for addressing a bunch of different skills, a couple of different skills that we'll talk about together today. All right, for our first activity, see if you have something circular. You can do this with a couple of different items, but something that will maintain the shape. So here I just have an empty duct tape roll. So you can use either duct tape or packaging tape or anything that's a little bit circular. And once we start to make it, you'll see the idea, and you can probably use different things to create it as well. Maybe even a paper or a cardboard plate, something that will be able to hold a little bit, and we'll see in just a moment what we're making. All right, so we also have some rubber bands and some scissors. So with our scissors, what we're going to be making is a finger flexion, grasping type of tool. So, a lot of times when we're not using our fingers, all of them, for grasping, or just the way our fingers are developing, right? We are not using the strength of all of our fingers, or just for the individual joints, they're not getting enough strength. So this is a great one for children, but it's also actually a good one for anybody who's trying to strengthen their fingers. So it's going to be a finger flexion kind of device. And we could do finger extension, finger abduction as well. So just either bringing the fingers together, extending them apart, or pulling them apart to the side, right? Or bringing them together. So rubber band is a great way to exercise our finger muscles, right? There's a lot of different things we could do with the rubber band, just using a rubber band. So whether we have it wrapped once or twice, there's a lot of different things that the rubber band can be used for, right? Doing different kinds of finger challenging activities, and even just for the thumb, even holding this on the table and having one finger at a time work, okay? But what we're gonna be doing is using our empty roll to create our finger flexion grasping tool, okay? So with our scissors, what I want us to do is just put tiny slits in the side where the rubber band can hold. So something just like this. Okay, so see if we can do, and whenever we put it on one side, we'll put it on the other side as well. Okay, and we can just work our way around. Okay, and I'm just gonna fast forward our video and let's see if we can do it all the way around. Ready? All right, so I have about 7 of them on each side. So you can see I just made tiny slits, 7 of them on each side. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the rubber band, get it inside of that slit and going across so that it's gonna be on both sides of that, going into both of those slits. So it holds in that either empty duct tape roll like I have, or remember, if you have something else you can use, whether it's a plate. Okay, and then when we put it into those slits, it's gonna end up looking like this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that with my other rubber bands going through the other slits. Let me fast forward you again. Ready? Hang on. All right, I just got my last one on. So actually, because of how the rubber bands are, they're a little bit looser. So I doubled the wrapping, I doubled them, and they go right through the slits here to hold them in place. Okay, and so you can even add a couple more long ones for length. So maybe I'll put just one more. We could do it together here, just for a long one, right? Remember, be careful with the scissors. Be careful with your fingers if you're cutting. But those slits just help to hold it in place. And we'll get our last rubber band on here. And remember, I have some extra slack in the rubber band, so I'm double knotting them. Even just setting this up is a great activity. And then just making sure it's in that slit area, so perfect. So I actually added a couple more slits, and you can set yours up however is best for you, but it ends up just having a bunch of different rubber bands overlapping it. And then what you could do is just stick your fingers in here really anywhere you want, and you're just squeezing your fingers together, right? So you can even see through here, right, as I'm squeezing my fingers together. So I can squeeze my fingers together. Some places it's a little easier, some places it's a little harder. I can get 2 fingers squeezing together, and you can really just keep putting slits. This is just a few. You can keep putting slits so that you can have multiple areas set up, right? So you have lines that are intersecting, going horizontal, vertical, diagonal, right? And that way you can have different places to practice just pinching. So here we're working on our pincer grasp, right? And we're squeezing our fingers together, and there's resistance. And I could do it with different fingers, or I could get 3 fingers to do it, and especially I have larger fingers. But if a child has smaller fingers, right, it's a really cool activity. So first of all, to build it, then you have this, and then just doing different squeezing patterns, you could get all the fingers in there together, right, holding it flat down. You can practice 1 finger at a time, either at one joint, or get your finger a little bit more and practice at another joint, okay? Or you can find one where you could get your whole finger underneath to practice that even larger joint. So you can really practice moving your fingers in different directions, right? Either flexing or extending, right? You could get your fingers and push them apart, okay? Or if you have one wider, pulling them together. So there's a lot of different skills that you can work on just by strengthening the hand. So first of all, in creating this, and then by using this, can strengthen all the different muscles. There's so many different muscles intertwined in the fingers and the hand that make our hand function. So it's a really good way to be able to isolate and practice working those different muscles, right? So you can do muscles that are working each joint to flex it. Right? You could do that for each finger, and same thing for extending it. So just 1 joint at a time. Right? You could get the whole hand working in different directions, opening and closing, getting that hand together. So there's a lot of different grasp patterns that you can work on. So our first very valuable do-it-yourself piece of equipment is our homemade DigiFlex. Okay, for our second one, this one is a fun one. So if you have a tube or something strong, solid, you can use that. If you don't, and remember, you can always adjust as needed. Once you see what we're making, you can make one on your own. If you don't, you can use something just like this, a bunch of pencils that are going to be rubber banded together. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pencils here. I'm just going to rubber band them together just so that they can create this cylinder shape. So remember, if you have a cylinder shape already that's strong and firm, then that'll be perfect. If not, just putting these rubber bands around a pencil or pens, right? Something that's not going to break, though. I like the pencils because they're nice and strong, sturdy. Okay, then we need something that we will be able to put on this under to create a balance challenge. Our number 2 is a do-it-yourself homemade balance challenge piece of equipment. So what I happened to find was a very large cutting board. So check it out. So on our chair, right, we can get our cylinder-shaped item here. Okay, we can put our cutting board on top, and it might be a little bit hard to see on the chair, but oh yeah, there we go. So we can always add some more pencils if we'd like to make it a little bulkier. So perhaps I can add a couple more pencils into the mix, okay? And it's a little hard to see on the chair. Okay, remember, be very careful, right? You don't want to hurt yourself, right? So it becomes more of a cylinder, as you see. Okay, and then I'm going to get this underneath here. And so now, like this. All right, and so what this does is, remember, you want to get something that's not going to easily break. First of all, the cylinder underneath to support body weight, and second of all, whatever you're sitting on. So if you have a little piece of wood or something, that might be best. If something can snap and break, then we want to be safe. But what this is doing is it's making me not able to sit balanced. So first of all, it's addressing multiple skills. First of all, it's addressing my core strength, right? My stomach, my abs rather, have to stay engaged to keep me sitting upright. Okay, so not only that, but it's also causing my vestibular system to constantly get input. So we have our 5 senses: see, smell, touch, taste, and hear. See, smell, touch, taste, hear. Okay, and we also have 3 more senses, which is our vestibular system, which is located in our inner ear, and it's our balance system, our head position in space. When our head is off center, it feels like we are not balanced, right? And then our other one is proprioception, our joint position in space. So through vestibular and proprioception, we see where our body is in space. By understanding where our head is and our joints in relation to each other, our brain can get a picture, a depiction of our entire body and where we are. That's how we can walk and jump without falling over, right? And sometimes you might see children, students, people who might seem like they're clumsy, or it's hard for them to maintain their balance, or they're bumping into things, right? So there might be some challenges in those systems, or those systems might be just experiencing things differently, okay? So doing an activity like this, right, a do-it-yourself balance challenge, is a good way to not only challenge our core and abdominal muscles, but also challenge that vestibular system. It's good for attention also. So when we're sitting at a table and we have to work, if our body is looking for input, then we're not able to just sit and work because our body is not getting its needs met. Our body is not getting its needs met. Our body is looking for additional input in order to feel like it has that regulated place. And from that regulated experience, that's where our body is going to be able to say, okay, we can learn. We are in an optimal learning type of mindset right now. Okay, but if the mind is not able to feel calm, regulated, and ready to learn, then it's seeking something. So by having this, or it has too much of something, right? So it's not that this is definitely the answer, but it's a really good thing to try. It could be fun to make to see what you have, and it's a good way to test our balance, challenge our core strength, and just provide that vestibular input, right? And you can add some stretching and reaching side to side if you want to challenge our proprioceptive system as well. And this could be a very fun sensory activity. Okay, if you set up something like this and you're sitting on it and trying to work at the tabletop, as long as it's not distracting, though we're rocking back and forth the whole time, see if it makes attention and learning better. And maybe a child or a student is going to be leaning side to side like this while working on working on a worksheet or working on the computer. Okay, and maybe that might seem like, oh, this isn't how it's supposed to be. My child, my student is leaning side to side while doing it. But do we see any changes in attention, in focus, in regulation? Okay, that's what's important to pay attention to as well. You know, not just how does this look for us? This is how we're understanding it. Maybe we want a child to just sit, you know, and not move and work, but everybody's different. Everybody's body needs different things and has different experiences. So if it's hard to sit still, if a child is having a difficult time sitting still to do work, and then we do something like this, a balance challenge, and yeah, the child might be rocking back and forth, but they can sit and focus and do 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes of work, and before it was maybe 5 minutes. So that's a huge difference, okay? So you can set it up like this. You can also put it on the floor. Ooh, we're gonna have fun today. Okay, you can also set it up on the floor. All right, remember, be very careful. Make sure it's not something that can break. Okay, make sure that we have something nearby to hold on to, maybe a wall. Right, and whoa, whoa, here we go. See if you can balance in the middle. Also a nice way to challenge that vestibular system, challenge the core strength. Maybe we're reaching for something, get our proprioceptive system working, right? We can try to do a puzzle, grasping for fine motor skills, or puzzle matching for our visual motor skills. Whoa, whoa, whoa. See if we can balance right in the middle. Whoa. Okay, so, jump off. All right, let's come back. Have a seat. So that's our number 2 do-it-yourself balance challenge. All right, one more. I was gonna say one more, number 3. Okay, this is a do-it-yourself weighted item. So weight can be super, super helpful because what it is deep pressure. It's deep pressure. So if our body or a child or student's body is seeking input, then a big, deep hug or joint compressions can be so helpful. And something else that might be helpful is a weighted item. Okay, so sometimes it's a little dangerous. Sometimes it's a little dangerous doing weighted clothing, depending on age. You want to be careful. Usually there's a limit to how much weight you're doing. You want to be careful of the posture. You don't want to mess up the spinal cord. You don't want to keep it on too long. Somebody else is trying the balance challenge. Don't want to keep it on too long. You know, it's important to be tailored specifically individually to a child and a student, to make sure that it's appropriate for their weight, for their age, right? So you don't want to go too heavy. It's better to start lighter. But what we're going to do is, if you have different kinds of clothing, you can make your own, do-it-yourself. Very valuable do-it-yourself task number 3 is do-it-yourself, make your own weighted item. Okay, so here I have a big bag of brown rice. So this bag weighs 5 pounds. Okay, so usually they say 10% is the max of how much weight you want to do. I usually try to start a little bit lighter, just in case. So this would be for a 50-pound child, student, person, 5 pounds is 10%. Okay, so what we can do is, that's if we use this whole bag. If we use half the bag, so this happens to be a big bag, where we can just put it right on the waist. So it kind of becomes like a lap pad. Okay, so you can put it on the waist. If you put it into separate bags, okay, or for our do-it-yourself, tube socks. Check it out. Long tube socks. Okay, so what we can do is just open this bag, fill up this tube sock. Okay, should we do it? Brand new bag. Let's do it. Okay, it's open. So this can be a very fun or messy experience too. So please make sure you're careful, right? Supervision. This is a 5-pound bag, so you can weigh it out before you use it. Probably better with a funnel that I don't have, but a funnel would probably be better. Let's see if we can, oops. Let's see if we can safely, all right, there we go. Oh yeah, we're doing it. We're making a mess too, but hey, could be a little messy, but oh, cool. Oh man, I'm gonna have to clean this up. Okay, well, too late to turn back now. Oof. Okay. All right, well, what do you think? I would say this is about not quite half. So if this bag is 5 pounds, I would say this is about 2 pounds we took out, 3 pounds we left in, right? 2/5 looks pretty accurate. So that means this is now a 2-pound size. Okay, so I could either use a rubber band to seal it off, or I could tie a knot. And I happen to have a rubber band right here. So using a rubber band, we seal it off. Make sure it's nice and tight. You don't want to make a mess. If only the camera saw what the floor looks like right now, but learn from my mistakes, right? You can use a funnel. You can, make it a little cleaner. And oof, first of all, this is a really awesome thing to squeeze. Okay, so it's a really good sensory tool as far as a fidget tool. Okay, and this is 2 pounds. So this would be like for a 20-pound student. And you can make it on your own. Here, have it on the lap. It becomes a lap pad. Now, if I have to type or write or do an activity at the table, now I'm getting input into my hip joints, right? So on the lap, you get it into the hips. I try to be careful with anything on the neck or the shoulders because that can start to affect posture, that can start to affect the spinal cord or the neck. So that really should be tailored to, individual kind of a setup. But on the lap is a really good idea, right? It's a really good way to do it. So you can put it on the lap. If you want 2 of them, you could do 1 on each hip. And that hip is a big, big joint. So it ends up putting some really nice deep input into the hip. And the same thing like with the balance challenge. If we have a child or a student who is seeking some input or is not feeling in that nice, calm, regulated state, then getting a little bit of feedback, right, via some weight, which is going to be a compressive type of experience, a deep pressure experience, right, deep input into that big hip joint, okay, or across the lap. That's going to be something that can provide a calming type of experience, help us feel regulated, okay, and then maybe be able to increase our attention and focus as needed to complete our educational or tabletop activities or worksheets. All right, so there you have it, our very valuable do-it-yourself activities. We have our do-it-yourself DigiFlex. We have our balance challenge, which you can do for sitting, standing. And we have our do-it-yourself weighted lap pad or item. Okay, so try it out on your own. Be safe, have fun, enjoy, and I hope that is helpful. All right, hope you guys enjoy these activities. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see everyone again next time. Thank you so much.